What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Essential Scares Podcast, the only show that dares to ask the question, is it essential? I am your host, Corbin, and with me today, as always, is Alan.
Good evening.
And Bobby.
Salutations, good friends.
Look at that. We have got an interesting show
Fucking
for you
nerd.
today. Well, you know,
It's
a regular
time.
word.
I get you every time.
It's a regular word used by regular people.
Thank you.
We are going to be talking about a modern day nuclear creature feature, or at least it was modern 22 years ago. Anyway, Bobby has a spoiler warning.
Oh God. I do. This will
I
serve
didn't
as
need
your
that.
first one and only spoiler warning for the creature feature, 8-legged freaks. If you do not want 8-legged freaks spoiled for you, please skip to the time code in our show notes or description for our essential spoiler-free discussion. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Up came the sun and dried out all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider crawled up the spout again. Alan.
That is indeed a rendition of the Itsy Bitsy Spider. This film is dumb in every way that a good movie should be dumb. And I mean that sincerely as a compliment. Does it need to be more serious than toxic waste gets dumped into the local reservoir that spiders then eat the bugs that got infected by toxic waste to then have them grow like quadruple, triple, massively larger than their actual size should be? No, it doesn't need to be anything more than that. Do you need to have the son comes back feeling sad because he didn't say goodbye to his dad who died? No, it's there though. You've got your classic kind of simple guy coming back to help save the town type vibe. And also there's just massive spiders that they have to deal with in the most hilarious ways imaginable. I just want to open it right out there. This movie is so dumb in every way I wanted this movie to be.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
So, just to set the stage, as always, Alan, you've seen this before, right?
Oh, yeah, multiple times.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I've also seen this many times. I watched it last night with my wife. And as we're starting the movie, she goes, "Have you seen this before?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dozens of times." And she's like, "Oh, like, yeah." So this is just a trip down memory lane for me. It's probably been like 5 or 6 years since I watched it, which all things considered, not that long. Bobby,
Yeah.
this was a first timer for you.
Are you kidding me?
It absolutely was.
Holy shit!
I distinctly remember watching this movie, watching trailers for this.
Oh my god.
In a post-wrestling timeline and being like, that guy was WCW World Champion. And then watching like the trailers for that movie and being like, spiders are scary. Granted, we were like 8 years old maybe at the time.
10, yeah.
10.
Okay, so
2002.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
we were,
Nine,
at least, you know.
Yeah.
9 years old
Yeah,
for me because apparently I'm shocked. It's always shocking to me that I'm younger than you guys. We met freshman year of college, Corbin. I don't know what to tell you.
You're a young boy. He's an old boy.
I know, right? It's crazy. So I was like, what, 9? Yeah, so I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like watching this movie now, it's like this is a perfect, and I mean this holistically because it's clearly what this movie is trying to do, is a perfect early like 50s, late 50s, early 60s like kaiju type, American kaiju type movie, like giant ants, like, oh god, like that one movie that you made me do a write-up for the 31 Days of Halloween a couple years back. Whatever the fuck, Them, I think it's called, or some shit like that.
With the big ants?
Yeah.
Them, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
They have it
It's
on
like,
they show it. They have a...
Yeah.
Mike is watching them in the
I
movie.
I believe you. I believe you, and that's probably why it's stuck in my brain. But like it's so good for that, right? Because it's so clearly like a parody of that is just that movie, but like that movie doesn't exist in the early aughts, so like it's funny, and it's just plus like the weird like the beginnings of the lulls so random of that came out
absolutely.
like towards the mid to late of the aughts, right?
Mhm.
There's a llama or an ostrich farms random. Like it's so good. It's so good. It's so
Listen,
cheesy and bad. It's so good.
it makes really good meat. Okay, I mean, what do you have to say
Yeah.
about that?
I really love that. They're spiders, dude. You're crazy. Fat. It's like it's so good. Everything about this movie is so stupid. I love it.
It's the ultimate compliment I can give this film is this is what like PG-13 horror aspires to be. Because this movie is inherently scary because spiders. End of story. There is always a contingent of people who this movie will forever be scary on that alone. So instead of like having to try and be scary, they understand that they can do the dumb, silly PG-13, like almost Scooby-Doo-esque type skits, but get away with all of that because there's giant fucking spiders that are just always there and always creepy looking. Like the scene of the spider like coming up from behind the old man, that's a good horror sequence. End of story. And then they find a way to do a silly gag with the two. Paul, like it understands when and how to be dumb and silly, including all the spider sounds. I love them. I love the stupid little spider sounds.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'm all in on what if gremlins were spiders? I'm all in.
100%. Exactly. It is just it hits the spot perfectly for that type of horror.
Like, it waters down the horror like just enough to make it approachable because like
Yes.
obviously like you kind of mentioned the core concept is going to be scary for a certain amount of people like no matter what, which is kind of the beauty of creature features because most creature features are like, hey, what if this thing you're a little bit scared of was like 4 times the size, and you're immediately like, I don't like that at all.
Well, I am scared.
But it's like, okay, well, what if he was huge, but also like kind of a silly little boy? But also, if he touched you, he'll eat you for sure. And it's like, oh, ha ha ha, but I'm still scared. It's a very funny way to balance the horror and the comedy of this movie.
Yeah,
where it just hits both extremes. There's no middle point.
No.
My stupid brain.
Yeah.
Spent a large portion of this movie being like, spiders wouldn't kill us. We have a symbiotic relationship with spiders. Even if they were bigger, they wouldn't do that, right? Most people, like at least in my home,
you thought that at all while watching this movie. Is very funny.
I never once considered that.
Me neither.
Me and the spiders in my house, we live in harmony. They kill the pest, they kill the pest bugs. I let them stay in my house. It's great. It's fine. I spent a unnecessary portion of this because this movie does hit the animal lover in me when they kill the parrot and the dog.
And
the cat.
The
cat gets electrocuted to death.
I was unnecessarily mad.
Kills. I was like,
I was unnecessarily mad every single time. I hoped until the final act of the film that they were gonna find what's her face's Boston Terrier and there was gonna be a happy reunion at the end.
Why?
I sincerely, I cared a lot.
They kill people.
Fuck them.
Kill a lot of people. Like, do you ever think of like?
No, animals are dogs.
There's already like no people in this town, right? They have
exactly.
They have the meeting, right, of landowners only, which in a town like this, right, like everybody owns. There's nobody renting here, right? And there's like 25 people in that town, and then there's still like so many people that get killed, and all those kids, like a lot of the people that get killed are under age of like land ownership age.
Yeah.
And that's
no.
that's where they fill in the gaps. It's crazy.
I actually disagree. I think that 25 people owning land in a town this small is like crazy. Like there's like 5 people who own land, everybody else rents, and that actually makes sense considering that like there's like hundreds of people who die in this movie.
Just think of the local economy. It's already like totally in shambles, and their mine where they just found gold, they blew the whole fucking thing up. So good luck with that.
They
Like,
get back to it.
gonna have to, right?
David found it.
Yeah.
David Arquette found it.
I guess, except all the spiders that are in there that are exploded.
They're dead.
Well, then
Maybe.
how did the radio host get his gold teeth, Alan?
Oh my
How did he get the
god!
gold teeth, Alan?
I didn't
My
even
glasses
think
are
about the
off.
gold
How did he
teeth.
get the gold teeth?
Come on,
That's
man.
on me. That's on me. I didn't
Straight
consider
from
it.
the gold vein right to the tooth.
Can we also talk about when we first see the spiders like really attack all of the dirt bikers? How
It's
it's
so
so fucking funny
It's
and
awesome.
incredible. And
Well, the best
Chad
part is
Michael
when
Murray
he
not
does-
gets tased in the balls and pisses himself and says, and I quote, "Damn it, I pissed my pants." Hilarious,
Honestly,
genuinely
The
funny.
fact
Also,
that he
honestly,
survived the
like-
movie is actually the one sin of
Yeah.
of the film.
I agree.
No, I agree
Yeah.
entirely. How him or his father lived through it is insane because
Oh yeah.
rapist and dad of rapist, like who like
Well,
and
that's just his
rapist of town.
stepdad, to be fair. You know.
Yeah,
Stepdad of rapist who rapes town. Yeah, like by all means, both of them. should
but
have-
Bobby, he
Yeah.
kicked a spider in the air with his dirt bike.
I mean,
Yeah.
coolest.
I
round,
laughed
right?
so
it's
fucking
Drake
hard.
Kicks the spider.
He also
Oh.
in a weirdly progressive movie tries to rape Scarlett Johansson.
Well, it was 2002. She fights back.
Yeah,
She
that's
does.
Why you know what? For 2002, the most progressive thing is Scarlett Johansson being like a boss bitch and like, yeah.
Whenever I watch this film, I go like, I always forget that Scarlett Johansson is not like that old, because she's like a child in this film. Like, she's what? Is she
Like for
16?
real life, she's,
Yeah,
40.
when this-
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's 8 years older than me, so that means she's 7 years older than you guys.
yeah. It's like this is one of those films where I go, oh, yeah, we are like much closer in age than I ever would have, than you ever like
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
is weird.
most actors who have hit their zenith are not much older than us at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Jennifer Lawrence is our age, which is
Yeah.
weird. She grew up just down by Maggie, actually, like that Louisville. Yeah,
Oh shit!
What's weird about it?
Yeah, no, dude.
I don't know.
Other people are the same age as you.
No, that's not real. No one's my age, Corbin. It's impossible.
There's
That can't possibly be reality.
It's true. I
I'm
wanted
like,
to say I am, but I'm like a week away from making that joke.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear. There's like undoubtedly actors and actresses who you guys are like 3 points of separation from.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of relatively famous or actually famous people just from our area. So it's like
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like either I know somebody who knows somebody, or I know somebody, or you guys know somebody, or you guys know somebody who knows somebody. We
Mhm.
live in the
We live in a
jungle of the
society.
Midwest.
we do live in a society.
Like it's not like
Yes.
that's all. I'm just saying. It's not crazy to think
Yeah.
that there's like people like. That's like the whole thing about like famous people is they know a million people.
So, moving back to the movie,
Yes.
Bobby, this was your first time.
Yeah.
What? I think we've made it obvious that it's easy to talk good things about the movie because it's just kind of a fun. This movie is basically just a romp. If you typically like movies that people would describe as being a romp of some kind, you'll probably enjoy this movie.
Oh yeah.
What did you not like about this movie, especially as a first timer?
Okay, so thinking critically for a second, this movie is incredibly stupid. Oh, the plot is paper thin. There is it just kind of moves from scene to scene. There's really no like there's technically a point, but really there isn't. This movie is by all accounts technically bad. It's just not a good film. You are very much realizing that this was a movie that was built like okay, and then the next scene, and then the next scene. It's just not a good movie. It's not a good film. It is a very fun movie, but it's not a good film. There's like the soundtrack is from my recollection of the only person. Alan, when did you watch this?
Saturday morning.
Yes, same. Oh, yeah, maybe. So like about a week ago, can't remember a single song from the soundtrack.
Really?
Nope, cannot
That's
remember anything.
shocking to me, actually.
I know it's just like I can't. There's just like the only character who's memorable is the radio host conspiracy theorist. Like
He's great.
Right? He's very
No,
I'm sorry, that's not true. The conspiracy theorist and also the deputy. David Arquette, I was waffling whether or not he's a good actor or awful. The entirety of
I think he was awful, frankly. That's my actual criticism of this film.
There's parts of the movie where he does a really good job, and there's also parts of this movie that's like, God damn, David. Like, this movie's conceit. There's a lot. If you want me to be critical of this movie, to hate. If you want me to just be honest with it, all of this exists, but in the same way that Ghoulies, when they went to college, is sick and fucking awesome. This movie is just so fun that you just can't. I can't stop myself from loving it, despite it being bad. That's kind of my rundown of all of it.
So I agree with some of that. What I wouldn't say is that it is bad necessarily. I think that there's a reality, an angle sometimes where you have to think about movies. Not sometimes, most of the time, where is this movie what it wants to be, right? And I think that some of your complaints, like for example, like the general conceit or the story is thin, of course, but it's like I don't think that hurts this movie, because this movie I don't think needs those things to be any more complicated or any deeper, right? I think that there are some there's definitely some elements of like plot hole, or like how could that character know that? Like, so there's two parts. For example, David Arquette's character, when he discovers in his aunt's basement the longer spider leg, and then he goes and he runs to Sam's house, the sheriff, and he's like, I gotta talk to Mike. And it's like, okay, like there actually wasn't a scene, right, where it was determined that he knew that Mike was Sam's son. He just picks him up, right? He picks him up from the side of the road, and then he drops him off in town, right? And then that's it. The next time they see each other, they're talking like they're great friends, which is fine. They had, the car ride together. You can assume that he would have learned his name. And you kind of have to make the reach that either Mike spilled and told him, who his mom was, or that he dropped him off at his house or whatever, right? But like, there's like kind of this like unnecessary leap of information that you have to make.
Yeah.
And then similar to that, at the end of the movie, when David Arquette, when the matches go off and the mines like fill with fire, right? Kill everybody.
Uh-huh.
David Arquette's like last line as he's leaving the mine is he says like, "So long, Consuela," right? Which was the name of the female orb weaver which he only Mike knew that, right? Because
Wouldn't have
like
known.
this is not public information.
Yeah.
The names of the spiders, right? Like only Mike
Yep.
knew this because I
That
forget
I
his
was
name,
wondering
the
what
spider
the
seller. He mentions it in the very beginning of the movie. The spider guy just like offhandedly is like, "Oh, this is Consuelo, the female orb weaver." Blah blah blah, and it's like the way that he delivers that line is like almost supposed to be like a callback. Like, "Oh yeah, I remember Consuelo. We talk about it all the time." But like they never mention the name not even one more time.
wow.
And those are just two examples. But there's like a lot of like the movie does have a fair amount of those moments peppered within. And I think that that's some of like the worst parts of it. Those are the things that make it like not actually good. Those are the objectively bad parts of it. Or like there's like character, weird character involvements. Like for example, Brett, which is the not Chad Michael Murray character. Right, he's literally is like assaulting Scarlett Johansson, right, date rape. And then she tases him, and it's this whole like evolutionary moment for her character where like, okay, like she gets closer to her mom, she realizes blah 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 blah. But then like when they reunite at the end of the movie, like they're totally fine.
There's no growth. It's just like, whatever.
And like obviously I know like you can say like, oh well, you know, they're under tension, there's giant spiders around, whatever. But the movie probably would have been serviced by just having even the throwaway line or like one more like little confrontation between their characters in that moment where like she still helps him in some way because she's a good guy, but like something to like, you know, reach back to that. So there's
You could even done with it. You could have done it with a taser. You could have had her tase a spider, and that's the whole thing. Done.
Also, I will say the music. I actually really like the music. It is comical at times. It's so like the music is oddly vibrant. It's something that I think is missing in a lot of soundtracks today.
It almost has a John Williams quality.
Like, yeah, it's really big. It plays off of like this like family friendly comedic horror, and like it's the perfect soundtrack for what it was. And there's this through line of the Itsy Bitsy Spider, which they play at multiple tempos and in multiple different keys, like throughout the film when the spiders are on screen. And it's just fun and silly. And I think the music is actually a highlight. But yeah, Alan.
This film, I think the acting is my biggest like. This is just not that great. Yeah, but like the acting doesn't
like
need
sci-fi original movie tier.
Well, right? That's one of my first notes. Is this movie has a lot of made-for-TV energy.
Original movie acting.
Like you can see the moments where this film cuts to black for a TV commercial. Like you can see them clear as day. To the point where I looked it up. I'm like, was this actually made for TV and I'm just misremembering this? No, it was in theaters. Yeah. No, but it very much so
had a robust ad campaign.
Well, yeah, exactly. I remember that, but I was like, was it just like
because you looked it up?
Well, no, but I mean, just because I remembered the robust ad, what if it was a robust ad campaign for a made-for-TV movie? It's possible they did it with it.
Can you name a single one besides Dinosaur Island?
I don't even know what Dinosaur Island is.
Am I the only one who remembers NBC's Dinosaur Island?
I don't know that movie.
Yeah, Bobby, you're on Bobby Island, buddy. Sorry.
For TV miniseries.
Oh.
But that's my big complaint. I think the acting is pretty poor, totally just outright. But it doesn't need to be good because I think what the acting may not be good, but the writing, I think for comedy, like does a lot of heavy lifting for when the acting is stilted. Yeah. Because the writer of this film understood how to write a comedic film and then throw tinges of scares in there. Like very much so.
I laughed watching it.
I laughed out loud multiple times. Yeah. Like when all these ostriches start getting yanked by spiders, hilarious. And then they repeat that bit with a bunch of people getting yanked by the spiders, even funnier. Yeah. Like this movie, it's silly. The jumping spiders alone, the animation on those is terrible. It's garbage. They jump off the screen like they're fucking Super Saiyans at times, and it's amazing. It's all I wanted out of this film, and it's exactly what I got. I just had a blast.
That sets this movie apart, that like you mentioned earlier though, that this movie was kind of like what you want PG-13 horror to be. And I think what makes this movie feel different and what makes it good in the price point, the age rating, is that this isn't a watered down R-rated movie. This is kind of like a slightly amped up PG movie. Like there's with a very, very minimal changes, this could be PG, right? Like there's barely any language. There, like, you take out a couple of scenes and you already don't see like basically any violence on screen, right? Everything is implied. You never, except for one BMX biker that gets orb weavered right to the chest while he's in the cocoon. Like there's no gore or on-screen violence except for killing spiders in very comedic ways.
Oh yeah, like with the fucking truck that explodes.
Yes,
it's great.
And all of the spiders survive that too, so it's not even like it's even worse than spiders.
Right. Yeah. Well, one of them did get just squished by the wheels.
Yeah, you're correct. Also, quick sidebar: it was not Dinosaur Island; it was Dinotopia.
Oh, of course I know Dinotopia.
Thank you.
I read the books.
Yeah. There was an NBC miniseries.
Yeah. Dinosaur Island sounded like a made-for-TV experience. I figured that, why would I correct you? I figured, that's probably something.
You were correct in thinking I was right. I wasn't, and it was Dinotopia.
Okay, but is Dinosaur Island a movie?
It is 2014. Yes.
Okay. So...
I was like, this isn't what I'm thinking about. I was not. No, I was a child. I was a child, and I got super mad when, like, for like an episode and a half, the glasses wearing like long-headed guy got beat up. I was like, I hated it because again, I don't care about human death.
I remember this movie, Dinosaur Island. Holy shit.
There's no way you've
seen actual Dinosaur Island?
I'm pretty sure I've seen, because the Allosaurus, I think, is the main bad dino.
Just go ahead and look up Dinotopia. Tell me if you remember that.
Oh, I might have actually seen Dinosaur Island.
That's what I'm saying. They did the fucking feathered dinosaurs. Very contemporary.
This looks like a fake Jurassic Park.
Well, to be fair, it's probably a more realistic Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
The first user review, Jurassic Park, this ain't.
Also known as Journey to Dinosaur Island in the UK.
Oh, Journey to the Center of the Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, I think I have seen this actually.
There's a chance.
I at least saw a couple of trailers because I recognize it.
You know what I recognize?
What's that?
Our ability to score this film. But I recognize that we can do it. But Bobby, I need you to tell me how we do that.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. So we give.
I didn't ask you a question.
Out of a 1 and a 5. Yes, you did. You did a directive that is essentially a question.
No.
Essential scares only. No essential question.
No. If you go, I need you to tell me how we do it.
That's not a question. I said I need you to tell me.
No. You said I need you to tell me how we do it, which is essentially a question.
Roll the tape. Clip it.
I'll do it. I edit this podcast, so I'll do it.
Hey, slice it in right here.
Guess what, guys?
I'll fucking do it. I'm doing it. 100%. I'm gonna catch this fucker in 4K.
I'm changing the pitch. It's happening.
Well, we only recorded 1080 actually.
Nice. I'm catching this fucker in 1080p, saying it wrong. We rate this bad boy out of a square of 0 to 5 with half points allowed, so a 1.5. Yeah, it's probably fair, and a 3.75. Probably not. But with that being said, Alan, you tried to come at me, so you go first.
Sorry, I had to finish writing my note to myself so I can catch your ass. This film is one of those weird ones where,
He's lying to you. He's lying to you.
like, objectively, this film is not like good as a movie, as a film. Sorry, as a movie, this is very fun. So it's like, where do I rate this? Because like, there's a part of me that is like, this is like a 4 out of 5. There's a part of me that is just screaming that, but I'm like, I have to put some amount of objectivity in. Like, this movie is, not acted very well. The continuity is just awful. No one cares about this story. We're here to watch 8-legged freaks make weird critter sounds and just have a little bit of a blast. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and go the 3 out of 5 because I do think it is supremely fun. And I think that calling this as an above average movie is just something I can live with. What your opinion of me is with that, I could care less because this film is fun to me and I had a grand old time. 3 out of 5.
We'll put it in A, B, C order, and I'll go next.
Oh, okay.
The beauty of me is early on in the Essential Scaries podcast, I created a contingency just for a movie such as this.
Coward.
That's right, everybody. It's the return of the Bobby 1.5.
You don't have the
This is a
balls to
movie
give it the
that
full 3 it deserves.
I would never do that for this movie. If I were to be super objective, it would not be this. But it is very fun. It's very bad. This movie should have been lost to the annals of history, but because we're talking about it, it should have been.
I don't think I agree with that at all.
No, it should have been. And so therefore, it's going to get the 1.5 it deserves, but also the recommendation it deserves. Go ahead and watch it. Bing, bing, boom.
So I also struggle with this movie. I always struggle when we watch movies that I've seen like a million times, and especially with when it's ones that I've seen a ton of times as a kid, and then here and there as I got older. Because it's like, it's kind of the same thing as trying to rate any other movie that you grew up with. Like, how can you look at a movie like that objectively? So I've talked a few times on the show. I make a comment of it most times when we watch something that I've seen before and rate it, because I keep a letterbox diary of everything that I've watched, and it's pretty accurate. I'd say 95% accurate for the last like 6 or 7 years, which is pretty cool. But this is the kind of movie that if I had watched it, back before I was trying to be objective, or even if I would just like throw it on and just like have to put a rating on it, I would probably just be like, oh yeah, 8-legged freaks, 5 out of 5, love that movie, and because we all know that realistically there's only 2 ratings that actually matter, right? A 1 out of 5 and 5 out of 5. Everything else is just a load of garbage, right? And with that said, I think that I am going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. I also agree that it's not an amazing movie. It's a above average creature feature, which is kind of how I'm gonna rate it, right? It's a genre that I think that we are missing these days. I think Sharknado took it from us a little bit. And I would love to see some more proper creature features. But if you compare this movie to its kin, it is better than most. And so there you go. Yeah. Bobby.
No, it's okay.
No, go
I
ahead.
was going to make a Pacific Rim joke, but that's
You're
not
welcome
all we
to.
do. That's not all we do.
Pilot Mecca.
This. Yeah. That's not all we do is decide that we are twin linked, we're twin spirited.
Right.
And that
I pilot Mecca.
No, you don't pilot jack shit. Corbin and I pilot it, and you're alone. No, you're allowed. We have the first 3-armed Pacific Rim robot. But that's not all we do on this podcast. We also decide whether or not this movie is essential for horror as a whole. I gave this movie a 1.5. Corbin gave it a 3. And Alan gave it a number I believe is also a 3.
It was also a 3.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I was worried that you gave it a 3.5, and I just zoned that bit out. But this is obviously a spoiler-free part of this podcast. In normal order, so ABC order, Alan, is this movie essential to to horror as a whole?
So
Spoilers as a whole?
this is another interesting kind of discussion because one thing I made a point of early on when we were talking about this film is this is like the perfect PG-13 horror film. Like, it really is. Is that enough to be essential alone? Part of me leans yes on like that merit by itself, because when you need something that is scary, but you know someone's also going to laugh at, is there a much better film than this? I don't know. Like, nothing else immediately kind of comes to mind for me. We should start putting the rating on our scale here, because I think that actually is useful information within our essential stats. That's an aside.
The rating?
Yeah. Because then it's like, oh, what are other PG-13 horror films rated as? What have we said those are?
Yeah,
See what I mean? Like, I think that's actually like a worthwhile thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
All on aside. I'm gonna give it the yes. Because I think there's not a lot of creature features at all, at least that I can think of. There's not ones that are this funny and also scary in a way that is just like exactly what you need it to be. If I had a nephew who's like, I think I like horror films, how about let's watch Eight-Legged Freaks together? Like that, it fits that type of horror watcher that I think it should be on the list. So I'm gonna give it the yes. Am I biased? 100% yes. I am biased in saying this. This movie terrified me as a child. Corbin can attest to this. I did not want to watch this film when we were kids because I thought spiders, and I still do think this, are creepy as hell. So, yes.
I'm gonna go next. Give me 1 second.
As an aside, if Bobby is looking something up, I just want to say, I host a Halloween cookie exchange every year, and we usually play creature features and like other like kid friendly horror movies. And Alan, this has reminded me kind of that like this movie existed and this movie's totally going in the rotation because like you can kind of watch this at any age.
Yeah.
No, I think I agree with the idea of this movie as super accessible. Is this movie essential? No.
Gatekeeper.
Just no. Yeah, maybe. But this movie, if this movie did not stick in my mind randomly thinking of David Arquette specifically, and only David Arquette specifically, who is a niche leading man in only horror movies and pro wrestling, I don't know if this movie would even exist in my mind if we had not watched Scream 2. I just would have this movie is other actors and actresses. Sometimes you go like when I see Scarlett Johansson, I'm like, oh yeah, she was in Eight-Legged Freaks, but that's not something that's going to consider to me. It's a movie that's been done. Is it fun? Yeah. Do I think that if you like a creature feature to watch it? Yeah. Is it an essential creature feature? Not even close to it. It's just kind of a fun little movie that you'll watch, enjoy, maybe go, yeah, I'll watch that movie again. But it's not something that is ultimately important. And when I think of essentiality, it's always in the metric of importance. So no, not important at all. So not essential at all.
So I agreed with Alan on the score. I give a 3 out of 5, above average creature feature. But I agree with Bobby on the essentiality. I love this movie. It means a lot to me. I think about it with some regularity. Um, but I don't think it's an important film. I think that there are more important creature features, and this is a podcast that I think creature features are sorely underrepresented in horror in a critical way, and especially, I mean, on our show we've done like zero, actually we've just, I mean, I guess if you want to include ghoulies and you know is
I
a
would.
deathbed, is the deathbed a creature,
I would.
right.
I would.
I don't
include both of them.
consider little guy movies to be creature features, like I think it's
You
kind
don't
of like his
get-
own
wait,
like
wet
little
puppets
genre.
aren't creatures.
No, wet puppets can be creatures, but not every wet puppet is a creature, right? I mean,
Square
the
rhombus.
thing isn't a creature feature, right? But that's
And those are all wet.
that's like the
puppets.
wettest
You're right.
puppet, right?
No, yeah, you're correct. That's on me. That's on
Yeah.
me. All I'm saying is Ghouls Go to College is a kaiju movie.
Oh, I don't reject that, right? I love creature features. I love movies like this, right? I just do. But I don't think that this is a particularly important one.
Yeah.
Even its placement in like the modern era, there are a couple other creature features, plus or minus 5 years of this film that are more important. And I mentioned it earlier that Sharknado kind of ruined the creature feature genre, but realistically, it turned it into the ridiculous, like, oh, that's so random 2000s, 2010s version of the creature feature, and that, spoilers for whenever we watch Sharknado, that's an essential creature feature, right?
Yeah.
And this
Kind of took over.
this one just isn't, unfortunately, but I do love it, and I highly recommend it. Oh, but
Wow.
yeah, talking about Sharknadoes isn't the only thing that we do. Where can we find you guys on the internet, and what have you been up to following, our now loyal order? Alan, why don't you talk to us?
Oh, hi. You can find me at a seal punter just about anywhere. I have been doing some things. I went to the Bears Colts game yesterday, as of recording this. Ton of fun. It's always good to go out to Lucas Oil. That was close to 50-50 Bears and Colts fans in that stadium. It was loud when the Bears did nothing, frankly. I got to watch Caleb Williams' first ever touchdown pass as a Bear. Am I happy that it took 3 weeks for it to happen? No. Am I happy that he threw it to Rome Odunze, who's on my fantasy team? Yes. Very happy.
You leave him alone. It's the O-line's fault.
Sir, I've watched these 3 weeks, okay? I understand that the O-line's a problem. I don't disagree with that. But Caleb has made
400 yards.
Yeah, and they lost
With
to the
an
Colts.
O-line that sucks that bad, 400 yards is more than impressive.
Not against the Colts when they have no run defense. How many rushing yards did we have yesterday, Bobby?
I don't know.
The answer is less than 50. Doesn't matter.
Listen,
I get mad. Okay, I love my Bears, and they just can't. They just can't.
The O-line has been our primary issue for
It's so bad.
literally 20
It's so
years.
bad.
We have gone from good quarterback to good quarterback to good quarterback for decades, and blamed it on the quarterback, and then traded him away, and he succeeded because our offensive line can't protect a quarterback to save their lives.
It's such a joke.
Literally.
I literally can't wait for us to trade Caleb Williams and him to become an all-time great quarterback.
I mean, it's happening.
I mean, look at what's happening. Fucking Justin Fields.
It's already happening.
I'm a Steelers fan. I've said this. I guess we've never talked about it on the show. Probably. I love the Bears. They're my home team, but I also love the Steelers. And Steelers are 3-0 right now with Justin Fields, and dude is kicking ass over there because he has a support network over there that we just could not provide.
Well, it's crazy when you get when you have like
tries to blame everything on one player in particular, despite the fact that we get the best player in the league every time.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it was a ton of fun though to go to the game. My sister drove down. So my birthday just happened. I'm 32. Woo, fun birthday. So my sister came down. Took her 5 hours to get back home.
Yeah.
Which that is
Probably
not.
took her
It
an
is.
hour and a half just to get out of Indianapolis.
It is not a 5 hour drive to get out of it, to get from my house to where she lives up in the Joliet. It like does not take that long. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. My wife and I went out to dinner at this nice spot called Fox Garden up by us. I don't know what has happened to me, boys, but I had 2 cocktails and I woke up with a headache. And that's unacceptable.
What were they?
A Manhattan and an old fashioned, and they were.
Well, okay.
And a Manhattan. It was a good. It was. I sent.
Cocktail and then yeah. Sorry.
It shouldn't. It should.
Yeah,
That's.
like,
That's my liquor, man.
That's
but,
that's really strong or really sugary or really like then just
no
regular whiskey drinks like.
It's turning 32.
Happy 32.
Yeah. You can find me at a seal punter where I'll complain about being 32, or I won't talk on the internet.
Yeah. The more likely solution.
Yes.
Hello,
Bobby.
my name is Bobby. You can find me online at twitch.tv/threadweenie. All my relevant socials are there. There's a good chance that I'm not online, but if I am, I'm playing the I think it's still an alpha, but I'm still not sure, of Deadlock, Valve's new third-person shooter / MOBA. It's a lot of fun. It has broken my brain and made me hyper addicted to it. Other than that, haven't been doing much. Had a lot of like real life stuff kind of intercede with that. Saw 2 friends get married. Had to say goodbye to somebody. So a couple of those things happening. But other than that, I've been playing Deadlock. So chances are, if you ever follow my Twitch and see that I'm online, I'm probably playing that. So follow me now to watch that. Twitch.tv/TheRedWinnie.
Nice. You can find me at Bolters and Bourbon. Bolters_Bourbon is the actual username. I am active on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. So follow me over there. What have I been up to lately? Kind of, a lot of what I'm always up to, right? Well, a lot of Warhammer stuff. I'm currently running an escalation league for our little group for 40K. So I painted up some Ultramarines.
Good looking Ultramarines.
A 1,000 Suns Demon Prince in a couple hours, which is really great.
Did you dry brush those wings to get that white like highlight on the raised bits, or did you like actually go in and edge highlight them?
No. So it was black. It was actually just a slap chop. It was black prime.
Know it
with a Vallejo bone white dry brush, and I was really targeted with the shading, with the dry brush shading. And then Vallejo Express, one of the purples on the wings. I forget the color. But so for this current 1,000 Suns project, I'm using exclusively Vallejo paints from the current, the new Express and Game Color line.
They're very good.
They're amazing. And they're
very matte too on the Express. They dry incredibly matte,
which is it's been good. Because there's a lot of things you can do to them, and that has been fun. I don't have the full line, and I don't always buy the colors that I need because I kind of try to predict what I'll want. So like when I painted that Demon Prince, which I did in one night, I just used what I had already had, and I bought some colors that I thought I would need for the Prince.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of practicing like using a more limited palette.
I wonder why.
It's just one of the. I mean, I still use like 13 colors, right? Like,
sure.
So but it's one of those things that when I watch painting videos or when I see people do stuff, like a lot of like quick paint jobs, they'll only use like 10 colors or 5 or 6 or 7 colors, and then the other colors are mixes of those colors, so everything kind of stays within the same range. And that's certainly not something that I have a lot of practice with. I am like a classic follow the GW tutorial, use 25 different colors for one Space Marine, and then have at it. So trying to, you know, branch out and like grow the skills a little bit. Besides that, I have gotten really into Squad Busters on mobile. It is the new Supercell game. They're having a Transformers crossover right now, and Transformers is like my number one all-time favorite thing. So I decided to check it out just so I can add Optimus Prime to the game, and the game has me hook, line, and sinker. I play all the time. I love it. And obviously I did the crossover, unlocked everything. So, which on that token, I went and saw Transformers 1. Amazing. And
is it actually that good?
Yeah. So not just saying that, as you know, I've seen a lot of bad Transformers things, and it's like legit good. It's legit good. The origin story, you know, of Prime and Megatron is a little bit like brought down to a more kid appropriate level. Like there's no
I've heard they're built
there's no
to be
gladiator
brothers.
pits, you know, but what?
I've heard they're built to be brothers.
That's right.
Designed to be enemies.
It is that simple. But there's a lot of you know, there's some political intrigue, some backstabbing, you know, everything that you would kind of expect out of that story, and it nails it. It's really, really fun. Good action, good story, a quick 90 minutes, very enjoyable. Highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
And then yeah, I went to that same wedding as Bobby, so it's been a busy couple of weeks here. At Bolters_bourbon, thank you. You can find the podcast anywhere at Essential Scares, and by anywhere we really mean Facebook is our number one place, but we're also on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Follow us and see when we post about new content. You know what? I think that might be it for this week. So, you know,
wow.
Thank you to everybody for listening and for watching. If you liked the show, give us a rating, a review, a subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your family. This week, we watched Eight-Legged Freaks. And this was a movie suggested by Bobby after we watched Scream 2. Clearly connected via the legend David Arquette.
Can't kill
I have the next pick, right? And we are going to be watching another creature feature, Lake Placid. That's right.
Oh,
we are drawing
okay.
Our connection via the composer John Ottman, who did the score for both movies. So Lake Placid, check it out, and we will. I think it's on Shudder or Tubi or cable.
Definitely on cable.
When I was growing up, it was on AMC like every other day, so it should be pretty easy to check this one out. Lake Placid, the first one. So we'll catch you back in 2 weeks with that. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you again to everybody for watching and for listening. You guys have been great. Thank you to Alan and to Bobby for being on the show with me. You guys have been great. I've been your host, Corbin, and this has been Essential Scares.
Break down, baby.